الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praise is due to Allah, and His praise and blessings and peace be upon His Prophet Muhammad and all the prophets and the messengers and their followers until the Day of Judgment. I'm pleased to bring you another episode of The Rope That Binds Us, As-Sunnah waljama'aah. Last episode we were talking about the way that ahlusunnah, the people of sunnah, the people who follow the sunnah and the steps of the companions of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how they dealt with the textual evidence which is related to Allah's names and attributes. And they said we accept the obvious meaning of these verses and these ahadith and whatever it tells us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names and attributes without trying to do ta'weel, which is giving other than the obvious meaning or twisting the meaning of it to another meaning. Also, we mentioned the difference between the belief of the people of the truth from those who resemble Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, resemble Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to His creation, or said that Allah's attributes and names are similar to His creation. Nu'aym ibn Hammad, one of the great early Muslim scholars, said, whoever says that Allah resembles His creation is a kafir. This is a form of disbelief, basically. And whoever denies what Allah has described Himself with is a kafir as well. And this is another form of disbelief. None of what Allah has described Himself with or His Prophet has described Him with entails any resemblance between Him and His creation. Reported by Imam al-Dhahabi in his book Mukhtasar al-Ulu. So this is this is a fact that we believe in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam described Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with, without believing that it's similar in nature to the humans' attributes and humans' names, or it is or denying it, or denying the meaning of it. You remember, we're talking about those who also don't accept the obvious meaning of the verses which is related to Allah's name and attributes. So we talk about the one who accepts the obvious meaning. Then now we will talk about those who reject the obvious meaning. There are three groups. Mu'attila, Mu'awwila, and Al-Mufawwida. Mu'attila comes from the word attala, which is when somebody denies something. Al-Mu'attila are the one who denies Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names and attributes. Basically, those people said, they deny all names and attributes. All names and attributes. They said, we don't believe that Allah has any attribute, has any name. All the names, all the attributes, they denied. So they said Allah has no mercy, has no life. We cannot say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has life or has knowledge, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has wisdom, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks or hears. No, they deny all of that. They said that, and some of them said even, can we say that He's talking about His existence? If He exists, or we cannot even say that. Anyway, they are so extreme, those people actually, by the consensus of the Muslim scholars, by this belief, they took themselves out of the fold of Islam, because we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as Muslims has names and has attributes, and denying it is actually going against the basic knowledge that everybody has to have. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, you have to know that there is no one worthy of worship but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyway, the other group, which is al-mu'awwila, comes from ta'wil. If you remember, we said ta'wil is to give other meaning to the word, or not to accept the obvious meaning. Those who alter the obvious meaning, giving the word another meaning that they claim was intent. So they have another meaning in their mind, and they said this is the meaning of what was intent, and they give that meaning to the word. So they do this for no other reason but to escape what they claim is tamthil. I mean by that, you remember those who deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names and attributes? Why do you think a person will deny this? Those group, the first group who came first, they said if we say Allah exists, or Allah He sees, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He talks, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alive, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He has mercy. They said that means He is like human beings, and we don't resemble Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to His creation. So what's the result? They said let's deny all the names and attributes. Nothing. So that's basically what led them to that. The other group felt shame to deny all this names and attributes, because there is hundreds of verses and ahadith and a statement from the Prophet ﷺ about Allah and His names and His attributes. So you cannot just deny all of that and say it doesn't have any meaning. It's not acceptable. So what they did, they altered the obvious meaning and giving the word another meaning that they claim it was intent. So they will come to one of His attributes. They said, no, it doesn't mean that. It means something else. For example, they would tell you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His mercy means, there is nothing called mercy. They said His mercy means that His Jannah, the paradise, the reward that He will give to the believer in the Day of Judgment. They would say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's anger means He's not angry, because we will not attribute this attribution to Him. They will say no, it means His punishment or the hellfire. They will tell you Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't have hands or two hands that He created Adam with. They will tell you no, it means His power. That was ta'wil. They will give you other meaning, and they claim that meaning was intent. Is this methodology valid or invalid? Is this the right methodology to deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names or attributes? I believe as well that ahlusunnah waljama'aah through the history have criticized this methodology and showed that it's invalid for several perspectives. One, first, whoever saying this, giving other than the obvious meaning, or this methodology of ta'wil, basically they have described the Quran and the Sunnah by claiming that believing in the obvious meaning of them is kufr. They claim basically that the obvious meaning, which is any Arabic speaker, the nature of Arabic is to understand the obvious meaning. The first meaning come to your mind when you hear any statement. They said that obvious meaning is kufr, because they said it means resembling Allah to His creation. So they're claiming that what appear from Al-Quran and Sunnah is kufr. And this is very dangerous. Actually, that's a very dangerous statement. And I don't know if a person who using this methodology will realize the dangers of this methodology or not. Also, this methodology opposes the nature of the Arabic language in which Quran was sent down and which the Prophet ﷺ used to speak. The meaning that they interpret are based upon their own logic and understanding, and then they claim that it is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intended. So when they tell you the meaning of hand here, it means power. And some other will say it means might. And some said no, it means capability. And some said will. Okay, and they said that what been meant. Now you saying that what been meant. Based on what? Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us that what I meant by this verse, or that what I meant by this hadith? As a matter of fact, we're putting ourselves in a position by saying that similar to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade us to do, which is قل إنما حرم ربي الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن والإثم والبغي بغير الحق وأن تشركوا بالله ما لم ينزل به سلطانا وأن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون. Say, the things that my Lord has indeed forbidden are shameful deeds, and whether open or secret, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and associating other with him with shirk. Then in the end Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, and saying things about Allah of which you have no knowledge. To say that what Allah meant, you need knowledge for that, you need proof for that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this verse is Surah 7:33, and also in Surah 17, verse 36, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned us from such thing. What they are to escape from, what they are to try to escape from, the claim of making Allah comparable to His creation. That's what they try to escape, that's right. Also, what they're trying to escape from could apply to the other characteristic they have interpreted the true attributes to it. Basically, if they said Allah doesn't have hand, because if we said Allah created Adam with his hand, it means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like us because we have hand. Okay, what hand means? They said power. Okay, don't you have a power? Everybody has power, quwwah in him, or capability. Isn't that true? Yes, but they said no, my power and my capability different than Allah's power and capability. Said what's different between this and to say Allah's hand different than our hands? Exactly, like His knowledge different than our knowledge, His life different than our life, also His hands and His all attributes, His wisdom, His life, His mercy, His love, His anger, different than our anger, and different than our love, different in its nature than our attributes. As for the third group, al-Mufawwadah, those people saying that all Allah's names and attributes that you read in Quran and Sunnah, we don't know what it means. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He has mercy, we don't know what mercy means. We don't know what is love means. We don't know what hands means. Hands could mean love, maybe. Love could mean anger, we don't know. They said these words like alif, lam, mim, nobody knows what it means. And no doubt, this is actually, as Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah said, this is the worst group. Because the making Allah, which is the most known thing in this existence, they're making Him the most unknown thing. They're making Him the most unknown thing. Because all these names and attributes has no meaning. That's absolutely not acceptable. Anyway, there are so many details we can go through that, especially when you talk about the second group, those who give alter meaning, or they give another meaning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names and attributes, by going over specifically opening a discussion with them in each attribute and each and every attribute that they change the meaning from the obvious to other than the obvious, you will find out that they have committed wrong to Allah's books and to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam's hadith or sunnah by doing that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide all of us to the right path. And I believe that we run out of time. So please, we hope that you will tune in next time. I'll see you soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.